Hello friends, and welcome to April. At least I think that's what month it is. I have been away and not doing very many things in the garden because I have been welcoming our newest little garden helper, and here she is. I'm trying to keep her nice and snuggled in here, but I wanted to bring her out with me to just kind of show you guys her. And for those of you that have been following along with the garden this year and just everything going on, I have been talking in the last months about how I have not been prioritizing the garden as much, and I will admit April has definitely been in the same in the same category. So I had little garden helper about 3 weeks ago now, and so I am ready to start getting a little bit done out here. It's actually quite warm today, so after I show you around the garden, I am going to put her back inside. My husband's here doing some things, and so he's going to be able to take her for me, and I will be able to do a couple of things. So today will be the first day that we're actually getting some stuff done. So at the top of our to-do list, I actually went out. I did not start any seeds this year. I wanted to, I kept meaning to, and my goodness, sleep deprivation and just time and busyness pretty much prevented me from doing that. So I went to my local box store today, and I picked up just a 4-pack of jalapenos and a cucumber because that is all they had left. They were having really great deals. I got these. There's actually 4 in this one, and there's 3 in this one. I'm going to try to separate that into 2. I don't know. We're going to see how that works out. Oh, my bag just flew away. I better go get that. But I got all of this for $5, which isn't like an amazing deal, but it certainly is for these box stores. So I am going to do that, and then we really need to thin the fruit trees. So let me just show you around what's going on and what's died in the heat, and let's get some things done. We're gonna take April one week at a time, one day at a time, and I'm just excited that I am back here in the garden. So thank you for joining me. Let's get started. Okay, so I wanted to just do a really brief overview because if you've watched any of my previous month's videos, not much has changed except for a few things have died. So right behind me here we have some basil that's totally gone. I've just been slowly working it out as I have time to come out here. I just see it and grab it. And then behind that I've got the snapdragons that are doing great and pulling in so many pollinators, which you can tell, like this is one snapdragon plant right there and it's loaded. And then behind that, the garlic looking pretty much the same. But I did have one thing I noticed. A lot of gardeners in my area, in the gardening groups I'm in online, a lot of gardeners in the area are saying that their garlic is having trouble this year because of all the rain that we have, which we don't typically have. And so I'm really hoping that didn't happen to mine. It's my first year growing garlic, so I wouldn't really know, aside from maybe pulling one out. But they are looking a little sadder than they did last month, so hopefully that's not the case. And then that last bed right there is the strawberries, and they look exactly like they did last month. This pepper plant that we overwintered is actually starting to put on peppers. I don't know if you can see that, but I honestly, like, it's just sitting here because I haven't pulled it yet. This pepper plant was a mystery pepper last year, and we didn't particularly love it, but I left it there because it was easy to do that. Same with the this pineapple. I left it there. My plan was to pull it out, but never got around to it. Over here we have some potatoes that I did actually get started, and they're looking pretty decent. I do need to water and fertilize those. This is another pepper that we overwintered that I honestly don't know if it's going to survive. And then everything up here pretty much is decimated because it got really hot and I didn't water it because I had just had a baby. Both citrus trees are in desperate need of being fertilized, and so I actually did that just a couple of days ago, but it's going to be a little bit before you start seeing the yellow change on these leaves, so hopefully I didn't do that too late. I had talked last month about how the fruit always falls off of these trees because the high winds kick on, or the high winds like come around when they're bearing fruit, and that's exactly what happened. So there were some, like, you know, like maybe quarter-sized limes on here, and they're all gone. They all got knocked off the tree. But this is the mandarin tree. Usually it fruits later. Oh, look, we got some nice little bees hanging out doing their job. This tree usually does produce fruit for us, so I'm hoping that happens this year. And then these are the pineapples that are actually doing great, and hopefully this year we will be getting some pineapple off that. Okay, this is where we get raw and real. I'm very embarrassed to show you this. This is all weeds. Weeds, weeds, weeds. Those two are flowers I planted. There's a lemon tree kind of hidden in those weeds, and there's an orange tree hidden in those weeds. And then very up at the top, those are some onions and more weeds. So that's all we have going on here, mostly weeds. And then we've got the peach trees and a couple of carrots here that got left behind last year. And so those don't look quite ready to be pulled, but they were left over from the fall. Let me see if I can get close enough to show you. Oh, I think I already see a branch that snapped because of the weight of all of those peaches. So we really need to get in there. All of the trees have leafed out. So we've got the peaches there, the apples up the hill, and then right here the pluots behind these very beautiful roses, which really need to be pruned as well. The only things that really need to be thinned right now are the peaches, but the pluots will need to be thinned very soon as well, maybe in the next 2-3 weeks. Behind the overgrown rose bush is more garlic. This garlic, while being much more like narrow and kind of spindly looking, does look like it handled the rain a little better than the other ones. But we'll just see. They were also exposed to a lot less of the light, and that's why I think that they're so much smaller, but I don't know when I need to start harvesting that. This is my first year growing garlic. I think I said that before. And so I'm going to need to look that up. And then there is all of this right here is onions. And the huge ones, because you can see right here, there's like a giant one next to a bunch of small ones. Those ones were actually left over from last year. So they're not bulbing up, and they're probably just going to go to flower. Actually, here we go. Can actually see this one did. That's what onions do in their second year. They go to flower. So this is trying to produce more onion seeds. And honestly, I have to decide if I want to yank that or just let it spit onion seeds everywhere. There is a sorry little kale plant I forgot about over here, and I'm literally seeing it with you the very first time, realizing, oh, I never watered this. So it does look like it would bounce back if I water it. So I'm probably going to come water that. And then last but not least is our avocado trees, and they're looking a little worse for the wear. This tree in particular seemed to do very poorly with all of the rain that we got. I think it got pretty waterlogged, and it started losing all of its leaves, which is really unfortunate, because if you see how loaded that tree is with flowers and bees, it probably would do pretty well if it could hang on to those leaves, but I do not think that's what's going to happen this year. One of the tops looking a lot better, but not flowering as much. But it's a different type of tree, so it may flower a little bit later. So we'll just keep an eye on those two. Hopefully more will happen this year. I need to paint them. The chances of that happening are very slim, given that I have a baby now. Okay, so that's what everything's looking like right now. I am going to go take our little garden helper back inside because it's getting quite warm out here, and oops, sorry baby girl, and I am going to go get started with planting those cucumbers and jalapenos. I'm not really sure where I'm going to put them. I have a couple ideas. We're just going to see where it takes us. We'll decide together, and then I really got to at least get started thinning that peach tree, especially the Eva's Pride peach, because I think I saw a couple branches on it that looked like they were already starting to snap from the weight of the fruit. We'll see how much we can get done. It's pretty hot actually, and I probably only have about let's see, an hour before I need to get back inside with this little one. So yeah, let's just get started. Okay, I decided I'm gonna put I think the jalapeno and the cucumber, one of each in here. There's a ton of space next to this. It's just hard to tell because the snapdragons are so big, but this seemed like a good place, and this is where my headspace is at right now. I can find one of each glove, so that's what I'm using. But before I can plant anything in here, I gotta take these weeds out. Toddlers live here. So to separate out that cucumber, I just got the roots really wet and then gently pulled them apart. I'm gonna try to plant the second one somewhere else, and then I'm gonna put the jalapeno back here. This area of my patio seems to do really well for a lot of plants, so I'm going to clear all of this out and put, you actually can see there's some kale trying to grow in here. I'm going to put another jalapeno here. And I was just over here watering this kale, and oh my gosh, you guys, look at these. I did go ahead and look it up, and I believe these are called dianthus, and they are growing so beautifully. I'm just like, oh, it's so hard to even catch it on camera. Like, they're growing so well. Everywhere I planted them, they're just exploding. So I wish I had planted more. Maybe I will, I don't know. Those were super cheap at the box store too. All right, it is getting hot, windy. I have a neighbor out mowing their lawn. I'm going back inside. But first I wanted to show you just how many peaches I thinned off that tree. These peaches are like this big. It's probably pretty much an average for all of these. Some of them are a little smaller. And they're filled up to here. Like that many peaches. I'm not gonna count them this year. I've counted them every year before. Let's just say it's a couple hundred peaches, and I definitely need to thin off more. And that's just the Eva's Pride. I didn't even touch the August Pride because it wasn't fruiting as heavily, and the fruit isn't as large. So I'll come back here at some point and thin more. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for hanging out with me, for always motivating me and encouraging me to continue in this. It definitely brings life and joy to me, and so I love gardening and I love sharing it with you guys. So thank you again, and I welcome you to come back. I don't know what next month's gonna look like, but we'll find out together. So once again, thank you for hanging out, and I will see you in the garden next time. Bye, friends.